The Universal panel at CinemaCon just wrapped up, so here's everything that was revealed. So even though this wasn't the first thing that was talked about, I'm just kind of going to get this one out of the way. At the start, we got the official poster for Faulkner, which I believe is the fourth film in the Meet the Parents world franchise. We also got the trailer for it. I saw the trailer. I watched it. It looks like a fun movie. It looks kind of interesting. Robert De Niro, Ben Stiller, and Ariana Grande, all awesome names. If I choose to see this movie, I think it would be a fun movie to watch. So the first actual reveal that was revealed was that Universal is making a Snoop Dogg film titled Snoop, and Snoop Dogg himself came out on stage, talked about it, said it's going to be rated R. It'll be releasing next year. It's going to start filming in the summer. And along with that, Jonathan Davis, who plays Pope in Outer Banks, will be playing Snoop Dogg in the Snoop Dogg biopic Snoop, releasing in 2027. This should be interesting. I think when it comes to a lot of biopics, I am very intrigued with it. I'm very excited for the Michael biopic that's coming out in just like a week and a half now. So I'm gonna be seeing that. So this, I don't know. I may or may not see it. Then Universal came in with the jugular by bringing out Christopher Nolan and talking about which is the Odyssey, which is one of the biggest movies that's coming out this year, and two, Universal's biggest movie coming out this year. It's first biggest movie coming out this year, and Christopher Nolan got a lot to talk about when it came to this movie. Starting off, he discussed why he decided to make the Odyssey, and he said that the Odyssey is a story that has fascinated generation after generation for centuries, and it's not just a story, it is the story. And I really agree with that, because from what I know about the Odyssey, there have been many interpretations of the book of the Odyssey. So I think it's really interesting to see how Christopher Nolan is gonna make this story, and from what he's said, it's actually insane. For example, this film, The Odyssey, will be the first ever movie that will be completely in IMAX. As Christopher Nolan said, he pushed IMAX engineers to find a way to make an entire movie in IMAX, dialogue filmed on set, and no changing aspect ratio. This movie is just going to be a beautiful sight to look. As if there wasn't any more stuff to talk about when it came to The Odyssey, Christopher Nolan said that he joked saying that it would be quicker for him to say who isn't in The Odyssey, because Jesus Christ, this movie has a very stacked cast. But he did say that the heart of the film is Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, and Tom Holland, who are husband, wife, and son. And I think it's really interesting. I think it's really interesting to see how these three are gonna be like the trifecta, are like our three main characters. I am not gonna be shocked if this film gets so many Oscar nominations, and I wouldn't be shocked if Tom Holland gets an Oscar nomination for whatever his performance is in this movie. Also, speaking to Matt Damon, Christopher Nolan said that this film was an absolute nightmare for Matt Damon in the best possible way, and he also explained how the problems that production had making this movie is very parallel to Odysseus' journey in the movie itself. Odysseus is who Matt Damon will be playing, and from what I've heard from this movie, this film must have been a nightmare to make in so many different scenarios, and the fact this movie is made at all is just insane, and I'm just very excited for it. Now, before we get into the actual footage that was shown, it was confirmed that Charlize Theron, who I honestly forgot was cast in this movie, she will be playing Calypso. So if I'm not mistaken, she is confirmed to be the second god that's been cast in this movie. We know that Zendaya is going to be playing Athena, and Charlize is playing Calypso. We have no idea who a lot of the rest of the cast is going to be playing. We know that Robert Pattinson is going to be playing like a villain role. Benny Safdie is going to be playing Agamemnon, and this whole film is very likely going to be one of my favorite movies of the whole year. And to push that agenda even further, at the end of everything, Christopher Nolan revealed a 5-minute trailer for the Odyssey, and there's a scene of the Trojan War with Odysseus leading the secret ambush in the dark after making their way into the heart of the city. The framing is very beautiful. Ludwig Göransson, who just won an Oscar for Sinners, so you know that the music in this movie is going to be peak. It brings intensity, and apparently Agamemnon's entrance into the battle looks like Darth Vader, so that is really, really interesting. And there's also a scene between John Bernthal's character and Tom Holland's character Telemachus talking about Odysseus' wartime strategy, and there's some quick glimpses of Robert Pattinson, and apparently there's going to be a Cyclops in this movie. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to be the Cyclops Polyphemus. So this movie is just going to be insane in my opinion. I feel like I would not be shocked if this film is going to be Christopher Nolan's magnum opus. Like this will be his his bread on, I don't know what the correct saying is, but this will be the greatest movie he's ever made. So finally, moving away from the Odyssey, Illumination came up on stage, and there was a little interaction. There was a little video from Jack Black talking about the success of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. That movie's already made like $500 million already. So the movie's doing really good. I was really hoping we were going to get some more news, like some reveals about if what new Illumination films were going to be revealed, like the Donkey Kong movie or a Star Fox movie. However, we did not get that. We just mainly got they mainly talked about the new Minions movie, Minions and Monsters, and we got two clips of that movie. The first clip that we got from Minions and Monsters, it was a scene that shows the Minions chase a thief in the 1920s. Their chase takes them on to the top of the train, after which they hijack the train and proceed to drive through a busy city, still in pursuit of the thief. A group of them eventually corner the man, while the others just barely avoid crushing everyone with the train. The scene ends to reveal that everything we saw in the scene of a is actually in the scene of a movie the Minions are filming. The director laments the Minions for ruining the production and kicks them all off on set. If you haven't seen the trailers and you're just being aware now, this movie is basically going to be set before, I'm assuming, the events of the first Minions movie, and it'll basically show the Minions in Hollywood. And from what I've heard, this film will basically be kind of like a love letter to Hollywood as a whole. Like, it'll make a lot of references to like Singing in the Rain and the struggles that movie had. If you've seen Singing in the Rain, like, you know what I'm talking about. And also, along with that, it's also going to be confirmed that Charlie Chaplin, who was a icon when it came to silent films, will be making an appearance here. I think it's just really interesting how, like, in the modern day, the Chaplin family is really making a mark on Hollywood in the modern day, because obviously Charlie Chaplin will be making an appearance he'll be making an animated appearance in Minions and Monsters, and either his granddaughter or his great granddaughter, I'm not 100% certain, Ona Chaplin, she starred as Varang in Avatar: Fire and Ash. So the Chaplin name is still doing really, really good in Hollywood. So now I'm gonna kind of go quickly through some other stuff. There was a first teaser that was revealed for Monica Barbero and Callum Turner's new movie One Night Only, which is basically a film that follows two people trying to find love in a world where pre-martial sex is only legal for one day. So imagine it as The Purge, but instead of killing, it's sex. I There was also some news about the Violent Night 2 movie. David Harbour is going to be coming back as Santa Claus, but it was also confirmed that Kristen Bell will be playing Mrs. Claus. I've still yet to see the first Violent Night movie, but I heard a lot of great things about it, so I really need to watch that movie. So I'm excited to see what this movie is going to be about. Then Blumhouse came in to talk about just one movie called The Other Mother, starring Jessica Chastain, and it's a horror film that follows a child who is stalked by a monster that looks exactly like her mother. So Jessica Chastain will be playing a mother and a monster. So all you horror folks out there, enjoy this movie, I guess. Then there was some news talked about Robert Eggers' new movie, Werewolf, which I believe is kind of, if I'm not mistaken, he directed the Nosferatu movie that came out last year, and we got some descriptions on what the teaser was like for that. So, for the description of Werewolf, it opens with a group of villagers dancing around a fire with intense close-ups on their faces. Aaron Taylor Johnson and Lily Rose Depp's characters then come to town, told about a legend of werewolves in the country. A lot of images start flashing through, including brief looks at a werewolf transforming in the dark. The trailer ends with Johnson's character in a darkened barn, mid-transformation and foaming through the mouth as he screams. So it seems that Aaron Taylor Johnson will be playing a werewolf, and I don't know about Lily Rose Depp, but I wouldn't be shocked if she's also playing a werewolf. I heard a lot of good things about Nosferatu last year, so I wouldn't be shocked if Robert Eggers absolutely kills it with this movie as well. Then to wrap up the panel, Steven Spielberg came out on stage to talk about his new movie, Disclosure Day, which is a very interesting film, to say the least. But before he got into fully talking about it, Spielberg was awarded the America 250 Award from the Motion Picture Association, and this is basically an award described as honoring one filmmaker that represents the artistry of America. And I feel like Steven Spielberg, he absolutely does deserve this, because he is an awesome filmmaker. I love a lot of the movies that he's done, so he absolutely deserves this. So props to him. Now, when it came to Disclosure Day, Steven Spielberg was talking a lot about how this film was really inspired by how, when he was a kid, he was always intrigued by UFOs as he was growing up in the 50s and 60s, and he always found that stuff as a phenomenon. So he definitely took a lot of inspiration from that. He says that it's not a science fiction movie, but he made the movie to be like a form of science fiction, and he said a lot that the third act of the movie will not be marketed, so there must be something insane that happens in the third act that he just wants us to experience in the theater itself. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of all the stuff that was revealed at Universal's panel. Tonight, the Amazon panel is going to be happening, but I'll be doing a video for that tomorrow morning because that panel will be happening when I head to bed. So let me know in the comments what you thought of this panel. I'll see you guys tomorrow.